So you finally listened and added the foam roller as part of your routine. Well, what if I told you that this right here could be causing you more problems than you had that made you reach for it in the first place? I'll explain it all today. What's up, guys? Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. The foam roller. It's how I roll, right? We've heard that phrase before, but never has it been more true than it will be by the time you're done watching this video. How you foam roll means more than the fact that you're just foam rolling alone. Okay? Because doing foam rolling in the wrong way can actually be more detrimental to what you were even doing it for in the first place. In order to understand that, guys, I wanted to start by drawing a little bit here for you. First of all, this is the side view of somebody's leg and butt over here. But we're going to get back to that in 1 second, because first and foremost, the way that fascia and muscles work together is the fascia is what overlies the muscle belly. And it sort of works in this type of way. Okay? It's sort of like a diamond shape. And if you were to push on these ends, right, this way, then these two are going to get further apart. If you think about, I'll show a picture here, those Chinese finger traps, right? If you ever had your fingers in these things, you try to pull them out. What's happening is you try to pull is these parts just get closer together. It makes it harder for you to pull your fingers out of. Meanwhile, the way to get out of that is to actually push your fingers closer together. That makes it expand in this direction, and then your fingers can get out. Fascia works in much the same way. So again, if you were to push this direction in this direction, okay, then these would go out to the side. All right, so now realizing how that fascia works, let's take it over to a real-world example that a lot of you guys, I'm sure, could relate to. We're talking about here the IT band. And for those guys that don't know exactly what that is, it's that big stretch of tendinous structure that goes down the outside of your leg that will a lot of times result in pain, especially for runners, guys who do a lot of biking, even people who sit for long periods of time. You get that pain characteristically right on the outside of your knee, okay, right above that bony, the bump right on the outside of your knee. This, guys, beyond the scope of this video, the IT band is really sort of being just put in the middle of a lot of different muscles that attach into this tendon. And what we have here is two at the top and two at the bottom. I won't even talk about the two at the bottom for now. Those are really the anterior tib and the peroneus longus down at the bottom. But again, just for now, understand that we have our tensor fascia, which starts from here, and we have our glute max that starts from here. And you can see they both feed into this right here, IT band. Now, here's the really important point when it comes to the foam roller. Guys will just blanketly take out the foam roller as they've been instructed and start rolling away thinking that they're doing a good job. The problem is, again, IT bands get flared up because of this imbalance between the pull of all four muscles that are feeding into it. So, if we look at the tensor fascia, this is more on the front side, this is more on the hip flexion side. This is the one that tends to get short and tight. The problem is, in balance here in the back, the glute max tends to get long and weak. Now, if you think about how we talked about how muscle fascia reacts to foam rolling, basically, if you are to go in the direction of the fibers here, okay? If I were to go back and forth this way, you're basically increasing the length here of the muscle belly, okay, and then narrowing it. So in this case, all you're doing is taking a long, weak muscle, the glutes, and making them longer. That is not an indication for why you'd be using the foam roller. If, however, you took the short tensor fascia and you rolled in the direction of the fibers, you would be taking a shorter, tight muscle and increasing its length. That's a good thing. But you can see that the direction of the foam roller makes all the difference. If you just said, I'm going to blanketly roll this thing up and down my leg, one, you could be creating a benefit. The other, you could be furthering a problem. So when it comes to something especially like the IT band, and the same thing applies down below the knee. if you're going to just blanketly roll over these muscles thinking that you're stretching this thing out or improving the tissue quality, I can tell you right now, you're not. You have to have a bit more of a specific approach to what you're doing than that. So if I break out the foam roller here, you can see that, again, with the glute max, if I was going to take this foam roller and roll it in this direction, right? This is in the direction of the fibers. Down like that, across the hip, which is what a lot of guys will do. You see them all the time. They get on the thing and they roll it right across. That's only making the situation worse. If I wanted to try to tighten that a little bit, obviously first and foremost, strength training is going to be our best weapon to try to tighten and add some tone to that glute max. Okay? Because again, I always talk about glute amnesia. That's definitely going on in most people. We could roll in this direction, okay? Which would be against the direction of the fibers. So if we did that, that would basically stretch it out this way, right? Which would pull it in this way, based on this method over here, right? So if we do this, it pulls it in. That would actually give us a little bit more of a benefit for what we are looking for. So glute max, don't roll this way, roll that way. TFL, again, this muscle goes straight up and down. So if we go in the direction of that muscle group right there, then basically we are going to increase its length from top to bottom. That's what we're looking for. Some guys, I'll see, they say, oh, I want to take this foam roller and roll it right against my leg over here, like this, and just roll it right over the whole leg because I want to feel it the whole time. That's wrong. If you do that, all you're doing is sort of helping to shorten the structure that's already short and tight. So, again, guys, it makes a difference. As I always say, everything makes a difference. How you train, what you eat, the way you sequence your reps, the way you sequence your sets, anything written on paper looks good until it's put in practice, and it can become really bad real quickly. Okay, that's why it could be any workout program, it could be any recommendation of foam roll, anything that looks good on paper, done incorrectly, can be pretty bad. So, guys, start taking a little bit more that second level approach or step to what you're doing, and I'm telling you, you'll start to see much faster results, and also a more significant step towards the direction you're actually trying to achieve in the first place. In this case, looser and a better feeling IT band. Guys, if you haven't already and you want to take that second step with me, being your coach along the way, then head to ATHLEAN-X.com right now and grab your 90-day training program. See what it's like to train like an athlete and to address these things as if it was your career like an athlete, where all these things matter. All right, guys, I'll see you there. In the meantime, let me know what other types of problems do you suffer from. If you want, I can make that other video talking about the lower half of this from the ankle up and how that contributes to IT band as well, or other issues that are bothering you. Maybe we can discuss them here as we do sometimes with our PT type videos. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon.